to now give them blanket amnesty, saying it's okay, just come out of hiding, and we'll give you whatever benefits other citizens are receiving. I think a lot of people have a problem with health benefits, educational benefits, et cetera, it just seems illogical to a lot of people.
Well, there's two things that I want to address. The first is many people that are here currently without documents did come in legally. They came in on a education visa, they came in on a religious worker visa, they came in on a travel visa.
A tourist.
So, exactly, a tourist visa,
Overstayed.
thank you. So not everyone that's here undocumented entered without authorization. Right. The second thing I really want to address is the word amnesty. There are people out there who will call any pathway to legal status amnesty. We're not proposing amnesty. We are proposing that people need to come forward. They need to pay fines. They need to pay back taxes. They need to pay taxes moving forward. They need to go through background checks so that we are all secure. That's not amnesty. A fine is not amnesty.
No, I totally disagree with that. Of course it is, because you are setting up a double standard. Then there's no basis for the law anymore, because what you're doing is setting up a different standard for those who have either entered unauthorized, as you say, or have overstayed their visa, which is another point. That shows that the Department of Homeland Security isn't doing a very good job of tracking people who have come here. Their permission has expired and they're still here. Now, that doesn't make any sense to provide them benefits or allow them to go have a path to citizenship and temporary residency status until that time happens, when there's millions of people in the pipeline who are still abroad waiting to come in and obtain a visa. And there's, maybe about 60 different types of visas that you could obtain. I think it is amnesty, because you're setting up a double standard. And what you're really saying to the world is, as long as you sneak in or you overstay, you can come in on a tourist visa, overstay, we're going to give you benefits.
Do any other countries do this?
No. Not to my knowledge, absolutely not. In fact, have much more draconian, enforcement of their immigration laws. I mean, arrests, jail, prison, much more draconian than we have here.
And we are actually spending a tremendous amount of money on immigration enforcement right now. We actually have a number of asylum seekers and children, small children of asylum seekers, that we keep in detention. We have spent a lot of time and a lot of money enforcing a broken immigration system. And you're right. Department of Homeland Security doesn't know when people's visas have expired. That's because they're running after workers and parents and 1.2 million children, instead of being able to focus on those that might be a threat.
By the way, these children have to be allowed in public schools by law.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is, case law, Plyler versus Doe.
Which is a fiscal issue. So right now, on the states, that is any provision of benefits to the right now. I mean, the states are hurting.
Well, the only thing is, though, I mean, as long as they're going to be here, do you want them uneducated so that they'll depend on social care for themselves and their families, or do you want them educated so they can get a job and become contributing members of our society?
I think education should be a right. We think of what happened in South Philadelphia High School and the violence from black students against Asian students and other immigrants, and it's sort of, I think it's something that, they're here. So what do you do with them? Do you just let them be? I don't think that's right.
One thing I'd like to point out is that folks that are living in our communities are paying taxes in our communities. Many undocumented immigrants are paying Social Security taxes, more than 75% according to the Social Security itself. But in addition to that, they're paying rent in our communities, which goes towards property taxes. They're buying products in our communities and paying sales tax. I didn't get asked my immigration status when I bought a cup of coffee this morning or when I bought a pair of pants. I paid the sales tax on those items, and everyone does. That money goes towards many of the services that we are talking about.
But payment of taxes does not, is not a reason to allow people to stay. I mean, that's just the bottom line. The thing is, we're looking at it from the point of view of people who are here unauthorized. What about the 15 or 16 million American families who no longer have employment, the head of households? I mean, just last month, the number spiked again. 435,000 Americans lost their job. I mean, it's a hard sell to say now we need to, provide, a pathway to citizenship. And yes, it is amnesty, because the day if that law ever gets signed, that means that day everyone that's here unauthorized is allowed to stay. Temporary residency.
That's not right.
Yes, that's
not what
true.
it means.
It's temporary residency. They never have to go on a path to citizenship. It could take another 12 years to actually become a citizen. There's no requirement that they do so. In the meantime, they have access to every state, local, and federal benefit, and that is a fiscal problem for our states and our government.
As I said, there are people that will say that any pathway towards legal status is amnesty. There's a very well-funded anti-immigrant movement in this country that has given money to a number of organizations, including yours, and there are ties from that movement to white nationalists. And I think that's a serious concern for communities to think about.
This is not a racial issue at all. This is an economic, legal. In fact, in Pennsylvania right now, actually Democratic state legislator in Bucks County, John Galloway, who is very concerned about the unemployment situation in Pennsylvania and is trying to do what he can to save jobs for American workers here in Pennsylvania, came out with a bill that's in the House right now, a two-part bill, to ask for E-Verify for state contractors, and then also E-Verify, making mandatory for the construction industry. Yeah. And they estimate, according to their research, there's 175,000 employed illegal immigrants in the state of Pennsylvania, and 18% of those are in the construction industry.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time. So we maybe this is a discussion that we can continue some other time, because I think there's a lot to be discussed here. Unfortunately, our time today is over. And I agree that there's a lot of feeling out there, Regan, that has nothing to do with economics, that is simply just an anti-immigrant feeling. I'm not saying that you're part of that, but I'm saying that it's out there, and we need to continue that discussion. I thank you very much for what you're doing, all of you, and I thank you for watching. Have a good day and a good week.
Thank you.